Hey guys, good evening. I'm going to make this fast. As many of you know, there have been two major hurricanes in Honduras over the last couple months, and the people we work with up in the mountains have been basically cut off from the rest of Honduras, without food, without access to getting out of where they live to be able to work and things like that. And so we have a really cool opportunity. This weekend, actually, we're going to be providing food for an entire village, the village of Agua Caliente. We're going to be providing food for 70 families up in the mountains. And what that looks like is about 1,800 pounds of rice and beans, and along with a bunch of other food staples. And so I'm really excited about this. A really cool way to just help the people out there, come alongside them, and hopefully we will have a chance in the future to do this again. So we'll let you know, and hopefully if people are interested, you can get on board and really just help these people out. Thanks. Alright, today is Friday, so tomorrow I'm taking the food up to the mountains, and I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about what goes on before a trip to the mountains. So the road up there obviously is very, very rough, and in order to make it on those roads, you need a vehicle that can take the rigors of that. And so this is my Toyota Land Cruiser. It is a 1996, and honestly it's one of the best four-wheel drives ever made. It's a solid axle, two solid axles, inline six, 4.5 liter engine, locking differentials, and it's just a solid vehicle. I've got it on 33-inch tires, and they're all-terrain. They're not mud terrain. I'm probably going to switch next year, just get a little better bite in the mud. But you gotta really be on top of your vehicle, because even a car like this, things can happen on your way up to the mountains. It's just the road is that bad. So just gonna do a quick run through of kind of what I take with me and my checklist of what I do before I go up to the mountains. So here's Franco, who always travels with me and likes to be my assistant. But so I try not to carry too much stuff, because a lot of times I'm taking things with me up there. And so here I've got my toolkit, and I carry a full mechanics kit in there with basically everything that I know how to use on this car. So no like spanners or anything like that, but stuff for just regular work. What are you doing, Franco? Yeah, so in this panel here on the side, I carry extras I carry water, coolant, brake fluid, what else? Power steering fluid, jumper cables, and a 3-inch, 30,000 pound tow strap that is normally used to pull out other people who get stuck. Thankfully I haven't had to use it on myself yet, but part of that's just avoiding the roads when they're really, really bad, knowing what kind of trouble you don't want to get into. So, but that's very handy for when other people get stuck, because it's kind of everyday life up there. So I also carry an axe in here. We often get downed trees on the road, and so I have that, and a little on these little saws here as well. So carry a lantern, a little table there, a big tarp that I use for shade. I also carry, let's see here, I got 2 med packs. So this is the boo-boo bag. So this is for small things. Just I got ice in there and things for regular kinds of injuries and stuff like that. And then I got another kit right up in here, and that's the trauma kit, and that's for, you know, really, really bad stuff. It's even got quick clot for gunshots and things like that. Not that I anticipate those, but we've actually used them before with people who've had severe bleeding from machete cuts and getting kicked by horses and things like that. So now when I move up here to the front here under these seats I have another first aid kit, and then let's see here. Under the other seat there, I have a kit with water filtration, and also another tow strap. It's just a 2-inch strap, but that can come in handy because you never know. You never know when you might break a strap, or you need to form a chain with a couple other people. Okay, so what I normally do before I go up is I run through a checklist of just basic preventative maintenance for the truck. So I go through and check all my fluid levels, so I make sure that my coolant here is up to where it needs to be. If your cooling system is not running well, you should not go to the mountains, because chances are you will blow a head gasket, or worse, crack a block. Lots of bad things that can happen because it's just so steep going up those roads, and a lot of bad things can happen. So you really need to be on top of your car, make sure that everything is working the way it should. So oil, make sure you have no leaks. If you do, you still can go up, but you need to really be on top of it, checking your levels and making sure you have extra to be able to top off. Also, the power steering here, brake fluid, transmission, I don't check that nearly as often, but you know, something to at least check every once in a while. Battery, make sure it is running well. As long as I've been using it regularly, then not a problem. What I'll do is, if it hasn't run for a while, I will just put a tester on it to see, a voltimeter to see what my voltage is, but normally not a problem. So yeah, this is an automatic, and so what that means is that you cannot push start it if your battery dies, and that's a bad thing in the mountains, because up there, well, not a lot of cars. So if you don't have a car there to help you out, then you're out of luck. And so I picked up this little unit here, which is a battery jump starter. So it's got the cables here, and this is the unit itself, and this thing's amazing. It can jump start a very big motor and do it without any problems. So yeah, just it's a good thing to have just in case, and you know, that way you don't end up stranded up there. So yeah, have some other things that I'm doing to the vehicle, but are not there yet because just haven't had the time. Need to do some fabrication, things like that. But carry a full-size spare here. This thing's brand new, and haven't had a flat yet with these tires. But yeah, that's another thing I noticed just now. In fact, every time before I go up, I test out my tires, make sure that they are at the correct pressure. And this one here is a little low, and the one on the rear as well. Now, I normally don't run these at a very high pressure. In fact, I normally run them at about 18 psi when I'm going up to the mountains. Now, that's very low compared to your normal 40, 50 for street driving, but up in the mountains, you need that extra grip. So when you have lower psi, your tire spreads out a bit and makes for a longer footprint, and basically means that you can get more traction. And so it also makes for a more comfortable ride, since the roads are very, very rough. So I like to air down once I get off the main roads, and yeah, so need to make sure that my pressure is correct, that nothing is off, and yeah, just make sure the motor is running correctly. If I have any doubts, I pull the plug on it. I say, I'm not going until I can figure this out. So it's just not worth it with the risk. And so yeah, that's kind of the basics of what I do. Another thing that I often will do is, Franco, The other thing that I like to do is go under the car and just check out for all the components of the four-wheel drive system, the drivetrain, make sure everything is tight, that there's nothing that is coming loose. I've had my exhaust pipe, my muffler come loose. I've had the bolts on the universal joint break as well, and so those are things you don't want happening out in the field. So it's better to just check them here. Just get under there with a wrench and some sockets, and just make sure everything's nice and tight, and it should be fine. So look for leaks and just basic stuff. And so just going over this stuff will make for a much smoother trip and give you confidence that, okay, everything looked good, and if something happens, then you can pretty easily isolate the problem if you know that the rest of your truck looks good. So that's kind of what my pre-mountain trip checklist as far as vehicle, as far as that looks like. And yeah, so we'll give this a go tomorrow, and I still got to crawl under and check out underneath the vehicle, but overall things are looking pretty good. My fluids look good, and Franco's getting a little impatient here. He looks like he's already ready to go. How you doing, Franco? Gabby just arrived. Say hi, Gabby.
Hola.
And Gabby just brought this truck filled with food, and so you can see we got a lot of food here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna unload this here at the house, and we're going to break it down into smaller bags, which will be the bags that will go in the back of my car and we'll take up tomorrow to give out. So, ¿tienes algo que decir, Gaby? Diga.
Muchas gracias
Thank you to everyone.
a todas las personas que nos han apoyado
To everyone who has supported us here.
para poder ir a las montañas de San Francisco de Opalaca
To be able to go to the mountains of Opalaca
y ayudar a las personas damnificadas.
and to help the people who have been displaced.
Dios les bendiga.
May God bless you. So we hit a bit of a obstacle in the road here, and that obstacle would be the rain. And so we made it to Monteverde, but that's about as far as we're going to get today. You can see I'm parked here at the church down here. Franco's here thinking that he's going to get to hike, but we're just going to stay here for today. We have a meeting here anyway, and so some people are coming down, and they're not here yet, but we will have a meeting here for some things going on throughout the next week. And you can just see here, though, this road is rough. This is the start of the road that goes up to Agua Caliente, and from what I'm told, there have been some collapses on the road of landslides, basically. Nothing major compared to the ones from before, but enough to where we're not going to get through. So that's what we're gonna. But so unfortunately, we're not going to get to drop off those things today. However, Bernardo is coming down here, and so we're going to talk about what our options are as far as getting all the food up into Agua Caliente. So what I brought up with me right now was 40 packages. So there's about 70 families that we want to provide for. And so we got 40 in the truck right now, and it was pretty heavy, but it did okay. And I anticipate it would have made it fine up into the village, but as I was pulling up here, Pastor Lenin drove down in his motorcycle, and it's very, very muddy, and he said, yeah, you're not getting through there. So unfortunately, this is just the reality of what life is like up here. The roads are, just rain overnight is enough to completely shut these people off from the outside world. And here we are trying to bring up food to help them, and we can't even get in just because of the rain. And so that's a bummer, but we will get it in there. It's not going to be this moment. Likely will not be today. So we'll figure that out, but for now we're just gonna have to see what happens and talk with Bernardo and the other guys and see what we can arrange. So it's a bummer, but not really surprised, because weather here is enough to kill any trip because of the condition of these roads. So once again, thank you guys for joining in and helping with this, and I'm glad I'm able to first off have cell phone signal up here, which is pretty crazy that I can actually broadcast this. I've never really done this before, but thank you guys, and we will get this food up here. We'll just have to see how we can do it and hope for some sun. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys later.